Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Weinstein. I run global content operations for Sony New Media Solutions. I want to talk to you today about our product, Venue. So, who are we? We started as a joint effort between Sony DADC and Sony Pictures in an effort to streamline their global product fulfillment. We started as a technology-focused company from day one with automation, quality, and security as the core tenets of the system. And we are focused on VOD and EST and broadcast distribution. And we soon onboarded more partners, BBC Worldwide being a major partner of ours. We also turned our customers towards working with broadcasters and VOD platforms directly. We aggregate all of the content going to the PlayStation Video Store. So every piece of content that goes into the PlayStation Store comes through our product. We migrated to AWS in 2016. So to give you an idea of the kind of scale we're talking about, that is roughly 25 petabytes of high-quality mezzanine inventory. And we are not just a software solution. When you sign on with Venue, when you use Venue, you get the software, but you also get our team of experts that have been working on solving distribution, automation, product fulfillment challenges for the last nearly a decade. So Venue sits in the middle of what we call the river of money that runs around the media and entertainment space. Rights licenses going out from content owners and licensors to VOD platforms and broadcasters and license fees returning. And we sit in the middle providing solutions to help streamline those workflows and those challenges to both sides of that problem. So more and more, this area in between is getting more and more complicated with, even with interoperability standards becoming more robust, the packaging requirements, the amount of content that needs to go to many different places is growing exponentially. And that's why we created Venue, to provide tools to help people on both sides of that problem handle those workflows. So ingest, aggregation of content, localization workflows, transformation workflows, versioning, and distribution, monetizing, and reporting. So not just understanding what assets you have, but what saleable assets you have, what products you can fulfill. Now this is the screen you'll see when you go into Venue, and I would love to go into detail in what each one of these modules does. It's an extremely deep set of tools that will take longer than the time I have. But what I want to focus on here is really what's at the core of our solution: materials analysis and manufacturing planning. Now, if you have seen some of the other tools that are around NAB, MAM solutions, even tools that Sony offers, when you're looking at assets, you're looking at individual files. What we did, we structured our inventory around products. So when you're looking at a product that you have in your inventory, you can see from the top down all of the versions of that title, all of the assets that live under that title. And I'm not talking about just video, I'm talking about artwork, trailers, metadata, all the way down to individual ratings, individual territories, synopses, every single piece, all well structured, all highly architected, so that the system understands what it's looking at. So that when you place an order for a title to go to a given destination, the system can understand what materials are available and tell you exactly whether it has everything it needs or whether it's missing something. And that's what we call materials analysis. The next piece of that is manufacturing planning. And so if you look, that module there, client profile, is where we set up. We're currently delivering to more than 1,200 endpoints. So every single endpoint is set up with a set of delivery specifications, ranked delivery specifications, and ranked material specifications. And the matrix of how you get from one source to an acceptable output is all predetermined within the client profile. And from the avail, we integrate with rights management systems. We aren't a rights management system we don't have a rights management system in the product, but we integrate with rights management systems. We allow the ability to edit availability windows, view availability windows, and trigger fulfillment of those availability windows. So that's a tool that can be used by content owners looking to distribute to many endpoints. It can also be used by aggregators of content, broadcasters and VOD platforms, to essentially have a shopping cart model where they can see all of the content that's available to them and have it pulled to their location. So why create such a complicated system? And it's really fantastic when you see it all in action, because what it does is it gives you visibility from end to end, and it also lets you make decisions in real time about what you can and can't do. So from the beginning to the end, we have placing the order, materials analysis of all of the inventory, understanding what materials are there and receiving them, and then all of the workflow automation of automated QC, external tasks for manual work steps, and transcoding, whether you need watermarking or DRM, custom packaging and transformation, and delivery out to the endpoint. And later today, you'll see that we're also integrated with our white label OTT platform that's built into Venue. So if our content owners need to go directly to their consumer with a white label OTT platform, we can do that all with the same fulfillment status. And because the system is aware of every single step along the way, you can have real-time status. And if you think about a regular supply chain workflow, you have basically they can all be divided into two separate phases. First, you have the collection of all of the material, understanding that you have all of the material, and then all of the processes needed to make the product, get it into delivery out the door, and eventually onto the doorstep or the SAN or cloud bucket of your customers. And so if you imagine managing thousands of titles going to 10 different territories or 20 territories in multiple languages, the amount of data that has to be collected is really astronomical. And if you've ever been involved with any of those projects, you can understand the challenges of trying to do that kind of work with a spreadsheet and manually collecting all of the material. With this model, you place the order in the system, you click the button, you come back minutes later and it tells you exactly whether you have all of the material you need, what material you don't have, and if you've got rate cards in our system or you've integrated with your own billing system, you can also determine how much it's going to cost you in an estimate format to go out and get that material and create what you need. If you need additional versions created, localized assets, all of that information will come back to you, the user, to then drive your fulfillment from there. In fact, we've gotten to the point now where about half of the times that our materials analysis service and manufacturing planning service is run is not to actually deliver content out the door. Instead, our customers are using it to determine what they have and what hypothetically they can sell. And so without even delivering content, they can say, what would happen if I needed to deliver my entire catalog to this broadcaster in these languages? And even before they make those deals, come in there with educated data, with good data about how to proceed from there. So you could get away without this kind of a system a decade ago, but the reason that our customers come to us is because they're basically falling off what I call the digital cliff, right? Which is the amount of distribution requirements is growing like crazy, and this speed and unpredictability of all of these requirements is putting too much of a burden on their coordinators who are required to handle their product fulfillment. So when our customers come to us, what we tell them is, without a system like this, you may drown. And it's worth noting, about 95% of our orders go from workability to complete in less than an hour. So a customer came to me, it's year end, and they were in a panic. A deal had fallen through or had fallen onto their table at the last minute, and it was a huge deal. Thousands of episodes of content going out in multiple locales to many locations, and they called me and they said, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? And I said, hold on a second. Just place the order in the system, okay? And they did that, and the system came back and told them exactly what was missing, and that fortunately 95% of the content that they needed was already in the system and ready to go. So they fulfilled all of that content in the matter of a day, and they spent the next 2 weeks acquiring that content, ingesting it into the system, assigning it, tasking it out to their vendors or their internal teams. The system gives them the ability to, once they see that an asset is not in the system, immediately turn that asset into a request to have that asset ingested. And within a matter of a week, they had all of that content in the system and out the door. And that's just one of the many success stories. It's become a little bit trivial to us in terms of the capacity of our solution. We're now at the point where we're doing 70,000 packages in a relatively average month, and the system doesn't even hiccup because we've migrated off of our tape system and into the cloud. And the other case that I want to highlight is that we're on the other side of the gate too, with retailers and distributors coming to us with challenges where they're saying, I'm receiving content from 100 different providers. None of them are able to provide it the same way. Can you help us? And so we work with them, and we get that we're basically mezzanine format agnostic. So if you want to use AS11 or AS3 or IMF App2E or ProRes or MPEG, we'll work with you to make sure that the data around those assets is interpretable by our system. Because once the system understands that you have this product with this set of assets and ancillary material, artwork, trailers, all clearly specified, it really doesn't matter what format those assets are in, as long as they're of high enough quality to make all of the destination requirements. And we, one of the things that differentiates us is our expertise and creativity in bringing solutions to bear for our customers. It's not just a software platform, it is a solution. And we work very closely with our partners' vendors, and helping putting structure around the way content is ingested into the system so that they can leverage all of this complex automation and push it out the door. So that's Venue in a nutshell. And again, if you have any questions, I'll be standing over there for a little while. Thank you guys so much.